And so, we'll proceed. All right. Hey,
Since you also bearing with us, this lesson is going to get out. I'm not going to give up.
so you started. Let's start over. Hebrews 2 and 9.
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 9. But we see Messiah, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he by the grace of the Most High highest should taste death for every man. For it became him, for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through suffering. For both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all one. For which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren.
So man was made, man is Lord and angels. He was above all. With Messiah, he created all things. Get down to verse 14 and read 14.
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 14. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that has the power of death, that is, the devil.
So he took on the flesh and blood body. Get down to 16 and read 16 and 17.
Verse 16. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to the Most High, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people.
So he came in the physical. He came and died from sin, for sin. He is rejected. We're going to go Wisdom of Solomon 14. Wisdom of Solomon 14, we're going to read verses 8 through 10.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 8. But that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it. He, because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, it was called God. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto the Most High. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it.
And so we see that things that are created by man is corrupted. Let's read verses 11 and 14.
Verse 11. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of the Most High they are become an abomination, and stumbling block to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
So what is a stumbling block? And what is an abomination? And what is a snare? This is a stumbling block. This is a snare. This is a stumbling block. This is a snare. This is a stumbling block. This is a snare. This is a stumbling block. This is a snare. This stumbling block, snare. Another stumbling block, another snare, another abomination. Stumbling block, snare. Stumbling block, snare, abomination. 12.
For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end.
Oh, we see that men cannot create God. Skip down 15, and we're going to read 15 and 16.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 15. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honor him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in the process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
So we see the creation of fake Jesus. We see the creation of fake Jehovah. These images took away the Passover. And these images will soon be ahead. So these images that were created by man was set up for man's destruction. Took away the Passover to celebrate Friday, to celebrate December 25th. Let's skip down to verse 21 and read 21 and 24.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 21. And this was an occasion to deceive the world, for men serving either calamity or tyranny, did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name.
Incommunicable means not able to be communicated. 22.
Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of the Most High, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues that called they peace.
So they erred from the knowledge of the Most High, and they erred from the holy days, they erred from the feast days, they erred from all kinds of things. They lived in ignorance. 23.
Verse 23. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made retellings of strange sights.
So Bohemian Grove. They slew their children in sacrifice, secret ceremonies, or revelings of strange rites. 24.
They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery.
They kept neither their lives nor marriage defiled, any longer undefiled. Slew one another. The Roman Catholic Church has defamed this side and attempted to turn it into a Catholic. Like this. Definitely like this.
Oh my goodness.
And like this. They are destroying Messiah, making him look like these images. Let's get down to verse 27, and we're going to read verses 27 and 30.
Verse 27. For the worshiping of idols, not to be holy name is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil.
So these worshiping these idols is the beginning and the end of all evil. 28.
For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves.
They are mad when they be merry, drunkenness. They prophesy lies. They live unjustly. Prophesy lies. The Sabbath commandment is done away with. Live unjustly. Pray over pork. 29.
For in so much as their trust is in the idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt.
They look not to be hurt. Right? So, the daughter of Babylon, people who follow the daughter of Babylon, the Christian church, trust in their idols. And these idols have no life, the cross. They swear falsely. Jesus is the way. And then they look not to be hurt. When you die, you go to heaven.
You know, it's kind of strange because when I used to wear a cross, I used to cough the entire time. Like I was a smoker or something. I had a chronic cough. And I never knew why until this one minister told me, he said, why do you need a cross on your neck if you're filled with the Holy Spirit?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I took that cross off, now I bought this cross from, I got it from Walmart, it was cross. I was a Christian. I did not know that just buying that cross in Walmart had such bondage on me. But when I stopped wearing it, the cough went away instantly.
Mm-hmm.
But we were still in Christianity. So that lets you know that Yahshua does go by the person's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was in Christianity, I was ignorantly in Christianity, but my heart was really for Yeshua. I just didn't know the truth at the time. And I even had the first lady of the ministry told me there's some house blessing candles. And I bought 10 of them because they were only $1. And every time I would light one, and I walked past it, it would crack. And the wax of the candle was red. So it would bleed, like it would slowly bleed out on my dresses. And I didn't realize that house blessing candle, that's an idol.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're looking at this thing to bless you, to bless your house. But that's the ignorance. So some people know what they're doing, and some people are ignorant the way I was.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need all that.
No. You don't. Verse 30.
Howbeit, for both causes shall they be justly punished,
Mm-hmm.
both because they thought not well of the Most High, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness.
So both are going to be punished. Trust in idols, no lies, swear falsely, live, prophesy lies, live unjustly. They're both going to be punished. Both because they thought not well of the Most High, giving heed unto idols, but also unjustly swore, despising holiness. So the soul is this body. And that said that in Hebrews the 10th chapter. The number of transgressors when Messiah was on the cross, we had 2 thieves on the side of him. Justified by knowledge. One of them repented, the other one did not. Let's talk about the meal. Briefly discuss the meal. Okay. The plagues were designed to motivate the Egyptian pharaohs to release Israel. Each plague targeted an Egyptian god. for Egyptian deities, and demonstrated that those gods, lowercase g, were not real gods, lowercase g. They were weak, pathetic. They weren't gods at all, though they were demonic powers. They were demons impersonating God. So, the 10 plagues, water turned into blood, Exodus 7. Frogs, Exodus 8. Gnats, Exodus 8. Flies, Exodus 8. Pestilence that caused animals to die, Exodus 9. First 5 plagues. Then you got the boil, hail, plague of locusts, darkness, and then death of the firstborn. Those are the 10 plagues. In preparation for the last plague, Messiah directed Moses to establish the Passover feast. You read that in Exodus 12 chapter. The feast was to occur while the angel was sent by Messiah to kill the firstborn of every family and the firstborn of all the animals. Passover refers to the fact that every family that participated in the Passover feast would be passed over, and no one would die in their home, and no one would die among their animals. As part of the feast, each Israelite family was to put blood of the lamb on the lintel and the doorpost of their home. Right? Then they had to create the unleavened bread. The Passover feast started with the removal of leaven, baked bread with yeast from the home. That's Exodus 12, 14, and 20. Then you had the lamb. The lamb had to be perfect, without blemish, without deformity. Nothing deformed about it, no blemish. It had to be perfect. The lamb symbolizes Messiah, John 1:29. The lamb symbolizes Messiah. Messiah died for all of our sins to be taken away. So, John 1:29, let's read that.
John chapter 1, verse 29. The next day John seeth Messiah coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of the Most High, which taketh away the sin of the world.
The Lamb which taketh away the sin of the world. The bitter herbs. The bitter herbs are typically horseradish, salt, and green onions. The bitter herbs were a reminder of the bitterness of slavery and suffering in Egypt. That was the reason why they had the bitter herbs. And let's go to Jeremiah 2 and 19. So that's why the bitter herbs. Horseradish, salt, green onions. That was a mixture that they had.
That's what we should have.
Yeah, the bitter herbs. Jeremiah 2 and 19, read.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 19. Thine own wickedness shall correct thee, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Know therefore and see that it is an evil thing and bitter, that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy power, and that my fear is not in thee, saith the Lord power of hosts.
Right. So it is also a reminder of Exodus 6 and 6. It is also a reminder of our sin. It is symbolic of the reason that Messiah had to die. That was the reason for the bitter herbs. Exodus 6 and 7.
Exodus chapter 6, verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth.
Exodus 6 and 6.
You like it. Exodus chapter 6, verse 6. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgment. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a power. And ye shall know that I am the Lord your power, which bringeth you out from under the burden of the Egyptians.
Right, so what you have to do is repent. The communion. The Bible is not an ordinary book. The words in the Bible are like medicine to the soul. Where does it say that we are to do this often? We deal with thus saith the Lord. So where does it say that? Where does it tell? The Bible does not tell us how often we should take communion. But Christianity believes it all the time. Let's see, Acts 20 and 7.
Acts chapter 20, verse 7. And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continue his speech until midnight.
Right? So breaking bread they thought that this was giving them the okay for Sunday worship. Right? They also use, let's go to Acts 20 and 11.
Acts chapter 20, verse 11. When he therefore was come up again, and had broken bread and eaten, and talked a long while, even till break of the day, so he departed.
So thus far we have not found a scripture where it says, do this often. But we're going to see something. Let's get another scripture, Acts 27 and 35. We're going to get that. But it says often. Read Acts 27 and 35. Read that, please.
Acts chapter 27, verse 35.
What we're going to do is we're going to go to all three Gospels where Messiah had the meal, right? All three Gospels where he broke bread. And the reason why it's three is because John does not really go to that particular meal. When you get to John, John is where Messiah talks about the first three Gospels. They have the breaking of bread. John's Gospel is different because John's Gospel, he recorded what Messiah said. John 14, 15, 16, part of 17 is what he said. Right? So we're going to see what was said in the Gospel. And we're going to see if Messiah said, do this often in remembrance of me. Do this often. Because that's what Christianity says. Read Acts 27 and 35.
Acts chapter 27, verse 35. And when he had thus spoken, he took bread and gave thanks to the Most High in presence of them all. And when he had broken it, he began to eat.
Now, we know that the science is not like repetition. The science is not like repetition. Read, let's go Matthew 6 and 7. Christianity will tell you that you can have communion every day if you want. Something's wrong with that. Matthew 6 and 7, read that.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 7. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do. For they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking.
Right, vain repetition. The guy don't like that. He doesn't like that. Alright, so if he doesn't like vain repetition, where did Christianity get where you are to do this as often as you want to remember him? We're going to go to the scriptures and see what it says when it comes to a Passover and communion. We were told to do this often, right? according to Josiah. That's what he's being said. Let's see, Matthew 26. Let's start with the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew 26, verses 1 and 2. Let's read that.
Matthew, chapter 26, verse 1. And it came to pass, when Messiah had finished all these things, he said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified.
Right, let's skip down to verse 17, and we're going to read verses 17 to 19.
Verse 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Messiah, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
Verse 18.
And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The Master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
Verse 19.
And the disciples did as Messiah had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover.
Now remember in Exodus it was the 10th day, and the lamb was to be ready on the 14th day, the Passover. Remember that. Okay? Let's not get confused. Get down to verse 25 and read verses 25 and 26.
Verse 25. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, Thou hast said. And as they were eating, Messiah took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body.
Now, if we're supposed to do this often in remembrance of him, he would say so, right? He would say, do this often in remembrance of me. So let's see if he said that. Verse 27.
And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
29.
But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
Now, maybe we skipped over it, maybe we missed it, but it's not in the book of Matthew.
That's another one in Christianity.
It's not there. No, we're going to find out where they got it from. It's not in the book of Matthew. Maybe it's in the Gospel of Mark. Peter was there. Peter dictated to Mark. So maybe it's in the Gospel of Mark. Do this often in remembrance of me. Let's see what he says. Mark 14, 1 and 2.
Mark chapter 14, verse 1. After 2 days was the feast of the Passover, and of unleavened bread. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death.
Verse 2.
But they said, Not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people.
Not on the feast day. We can't have him messing up our lamb dinner. Oh, okay. Let's get down to verse 22. And let's see if Messiah said, Do this in remembrance of me. Do this often in remembrance of me. Get down to verse 22 and read 22 to 25.
Verse 22. And as they did eat, Messiah took bread and blessed and brake it and gave it to them and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. And he said unto them, This is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. Verily I say unto you, I will drink no more of the fruit of the vine until that day that I drink it new in the kingdom of the Most High.
Didn't say it in Mark.
I know I heard Pastor Lee say that. I wonder what Bible it is reading from.
We're going to find out where they got it from, right?
I know I heard a pastor say that. Yes, I'm telling you.
But does it say, do this often in remembrance of me? And when it says that, does that mean we do it every single day, or does that mean we do it on a specific day? So, let's see, maybe it's in Luke. Luke is very detailed, right? So, let's see if it's in the Gospel of Luke.
Oh, I gotta go back and relearn everything.
So let's see. Luke, the 22nd chapter, we're going to read verses 13 to 22. And let's see, because Luke is very detailed with his gospel. There's certain things that are in Luke that are not in the other two. We're going to talk about Matthew and Mark, because John is totally separate. It's different. Right? When you read the Gospel of Mark on John, you can understand because it's more of an accounting of the child. Luke 22:13. Let's read.
Luke chapter 22, verse 13. And they went and found that he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer.
Yeah.
For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of the Most High.
That's pretty John, all three Gospels. Verse 17.
And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it amongst yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of the Most High shall come.
19.
And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me.
This do in the remembrance of me. When is it supposed to do that? When were they doing this? He did not say, right here, he did not say do it often, but they got it from somewhere, didn't they? Maybe it's in here somewhere. It's got to be in the Gospel of Luke. Let's go. This is verse 20.
Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. But, behold, the hand of him that betrayed me is with me on the table. And truly, the Son of Man goeth, as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed.
All right, so we go back to verse 19 and say, this is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Right? Okay, so he said that. We at least got that. Right? But Christianity says, do this often in remembrance of me. And Christianity tells you that when you do it often, you can do it every single day that you want.
Yes, it does.
If you want to do it every week, do it every week. If you want to do it daily, do it daily. You do it often in remembrance of me.
But see, they didn't have the right understanding, because when it said remembrance, like you remembering what he did on the cross, and that's not remembrance, you know, I think about him because he blessed me so, or
Right.
it was carnal thinking.
Well, let's see. They gotta have it from they had to get it from somewhere.
Okay.
They had to get it from somewhere. Where did they get it from? Right? Where did they get it from? What about after the resurrection? Maybe he said it then. We do have an account of him speaking after the resurrection, don't we? Luke 24. And we're going to read 27 to 33. Luke 24, 27 and 33. This is another account of him with the bread, breaking the bread, right? Let's read this and let's see. This is after his resurrection. This is after his crucifixion. Let's read this.
Luke chapter 24, verse 27. And beginning at Massa and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village, whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in to tarry with them.
All right, so he's with the 12. He's with the 11. Right? Then he's carrying with them. Verse 30.
And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and blessed it and brake and gave to them.
31.
And their eyes were opened.
Their eyes were open. Go ahead.
And they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight.
That's when they got the opening. That's when, he's Jesus Savior. That's when they got knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Verse 32.
And they said one to another, Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way, and while he opened to us the scriptures?
Did not our heart burn within us? He walked, he talked with us, opened up the scriptures to us. They did not appreciate Messiah when he was on this earth. Now they really do appreciate him. Our hearts burned when he was with us. Talked with us by the way. He opened the scriptures up to us. Why? Verse 33.
And they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with him.
It is in the love apostles. It is in the love apostles. Stop. Let's go to John 6. We're going to read 52 to 58. Remember, John's gospel is different because John does not give a full account of the conversation. What John gives, though, is the foot washing. He gives that. And then he goes from the foot washing to what Yeshua had told them. Did not cover the meal part of it. Right? So like we have read in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. But he does say something. Read John 6, 53 to 58.
John chapter 6, verse 53. Then Yeshua said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. Verse 58. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna, and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever.
It's not in Mark, not in Luke, not in John, not in Matthew. 1 Corinthians 11. So what does Christianity do when you should do communion as often as you want? Versus the Passover, versus only on the Passover, which we have read in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Only on the Passover were they to do this. 1 Corinthians 11, we're going to read verses 22 to 34. Well, we all do. Let's read.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 22. What? Have ye not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise ye the church of the Most High, and shame them that have not? What? Shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not.
All right, friends. Well, Paul is really, he's letting the Corinthians have it. Verse 23.
For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you. That the Lord Messiah, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me.
You've heard that before, but verse 25.
After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me.
That's where they got it from. That's where they got it from. It says, as oft as you drink it in remembrance of me. Now, we read the three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. We read what the science said about the bread of life to John. What does this mean in verse 25? Because there it is. And I've been saying that Christianity says that we're supposed to do it often, daily if we want. But it says as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. So, was I wrong? Or what does the scripture say? I'll wait. Let's go back up a verse. 24. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat. This is my body in which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. We read that in Luke. We didn't read it in Matthew and Mark. Then Paul is saying, after the same manner, he took the cup, when he had supped, saying, This is the cup of the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as you drink it in remembrance of me. Verse 26 then says, For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do shew the Lord's death till he comes. When do you show the Lord's death? On the Passover.
So as often as the Passover happens.
As often as what?
The Passover happens.
Then you're supposed to. There you go. It's very simple. It's right in front of us. So see, Christianity, once again, they do not continue to read. You don't do the Passover on you don't do communion on June 23rd because you feel like it. You don't do communion on August 8th because you feel like it. I feel good today. I'm going to do the communion. I'm going to do it for remembrance. Of course, you remember them every single day, but he tells you when you're supposed to do this. It's on the Passover. Not before, not after. He did this, then he shed his blood on the cross. Let's continue. Verse 27.
Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup.
Because let a man examine himself. Right? Now, you're supposed to examine yourself prior to the Day of Atonement. But he says, let a man examine himself. Let him eat and drink. 29.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body.
When do we discern the Lord's body?
Passover.
On the Passover. right? Because you're not supposed to eat and drink on the Day of Atonement. So this can't be talking about atonement. When do we discern Yeshua's body? We discern it on the Passover. Verse 30.
For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged.
We should not be judged. Verse 32.
But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world.
Should not be condemned with the world. When was Messiah condemned? When was it? The Passover. He was the Passover. Verse 33.
Wherefore, my brethren, when ye come together to eat, tarry one for another. And if any man hunger, let him eat at home, that he come not together unto condemnation, and the rest will I set in order when I come.
The rest I will set in order when I come. That's the first resurrection.
So this is the if you take communion and later you get sick and die, that's it. What is
It's not Christian. What is the word?
It's the word. If you do take it on word, then you will get sick.
So you living in sin. And then you want to take the communion.
That you will get sick. We've seen it.
Yes.
We've seen an individual operating in sin, took communion, and she got sick. Right after. We've seen it.
Couple people.
Christianity,
That's why you need to examine yourself. Examine yourself, repent before you take communion. If not, you will end up sick. You got a couple people.
Christianity is not based off of the Bible. It's based off of emotion. That's why Christian music is so good to listen to sometimes, because it's emotional.
I had that issue switching from Christianity music to the Israelite music, because Christianity is so emotional.
It is.
If you're going through some good deed, that good cry, that good smile, passing out, you feeling weak, and you can't. Israelite music don't do that to you.
No. Christianity
It's not emotional.
is emotional. It's based off of feeling. And that's going to drive people to hell.
All I'm saying is, now I see what the devil, because you ever felt like, even though you know the Christian song, you say, that's my song, that helped me get through. That's a lie from the devil. That song didn't help you get through.
You know what it is? You're feeling emotion.
Yep, you're in your emotion. And you didn't catch it. So therefore, you want to hear this song that's playing in your head. You think it's you, but it's really the devil shooting that fiery dart. So you go there, you listen to that Christian song, you get emotional, and then other things start to follow.
You get emotional.
I'm taking my playlist for a second.
This is what it does. And this is what I've been saying for a while.
But you didn't say it like that, devil.
Christianity. Everything about Christianity is about emotion.
We thought you were being mean.
I know everybody thought I was being mean, but I'm not being mean.
No, you're not.
Everything about Christianity is emotion. When you hear a Christian song from when you were a Christian, oh yeah, I remember the time this song brought me free. No, it can't catch you free. You were still in bondage. You were still in bondage. You were still going to hell. Listen to the wonderful Christian music. Remembering back in the day when the churches, you was just in church and running around like a fool.
Making sure that Christian.
Right. Oh, goodness. Once again, we proved another Christian doctrine to be a lie. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in what's going on in the world. Can we get those scriptures again? Don't get caught up. Matthew 24th chapter, Romans 12 and 2, and Isaiah 26 and 3. Don't be caught up in what's going on in the world. Give Yeshua the praise and give him glory on his holy day. Give Yeshua the glory. We're going to give him the glory and praise when we're partaking, and he's going to say when we're partaking in the lamb meal, we're going to give Yeshua all the glory and praise. Because without him, there would not be a lamb dinner. Let's read.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famine, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
Beginning of sorrow, right? This is just the beginning, people. Romans 12 and 2. But Yeshua said, oh, come on. But Yeshua said, but Yeshua said, don't worry about it. Right? It's going to happen. Be watchful of me. Read Romans 12 and 2.
Romans chapter 12, verse 2.
Yes.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High.
Correct.
Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee.
Tomorrow, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We will have our lesson at 12. Let's go to Luke 22 and read 16 to 20. Luke 22 and read 16 to 20.
Luke chapter 22, verse 16. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of the Most High. And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, Take this, and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of the Most High shall come. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, This is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you.
Shed for you. Next week, we're going to continue with our discerning of spirits, with the spirit of rebellion. Next Shabbat, unconditional love. So we want to give all the glory and praise. We want to thank you for joining us. We started early so that we can enjoy the Passover, because we know that our teachings normally go to Sunday. But we want to enjoy the Passover on the Passover, not close to sundown like we have done the previous year. So with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank Ahaya, Yeshaya, and Rawawat. Get right with the Most High, because these are coming. Yeshaya is coming. Right. All right? That's it.
If you have enjoyed this lesson and have found it educational, please like, share, and subscribe for future teachings. Also, remember to hit the bell to be alerted when another teaching goes live.
All right, I want to thank you all for joining us. If you have questions, send it to gettothewilderness1@gmail.com. All right? With that being said, we will see you tomorrow at noon. Kwame after hours.
Kwame after hours.
No. Communion. Forgot. I'm excited. So before we finish, we are going to have communion. That's why I told you to be loose. Jumped ahead of myself. This is 22 again.
Luke chapter 22,
We're
verse...
not ready for it yet. We don't have the bread. People say so. Okay, now let's read 22.
Luke chapter 22, verse 16. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof, until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of the Most High. And he took the cup, and gave thanks, and said, Take this, and divide it amongst yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine, until the kingdom of the Most High shall come. And he took bread, and gave thanks, and brake it, and gave it unto them, saying, This is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you.
This is shed for you, so we're going to have the body, blood. All right. Tomorrow at noon, we will have Feast of Unleavened Bread. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Kwame Asherah.
Kwame Asherah.